78.6 FM, positive vibes with Winsome. Let's start that again. I always like to say it twice. 78.6 FM Yomaton, positive vibes with Winsome. It is such an honor and a pleasure to be back on the air this Saturday, back in the booth. My favorite place to be at the end of the week, right? To start the weekend off. I had a great morning. I'll start off with that. I started the morning off with some of my teammates from the base here at Kadena Air Base. And one of the things they wanted me to try was the polar plunge, if I'm saying that right. So they fill a tub full of ice and they put water in it and they get in, and it's supposed to have some really cool properties to how it actually helps your blood flow, your neuromuscular connection and things of that nature, right? So at first I was like, hey, I'm good, man. That sounds like something I haven't experienced since Thule, Greenland, right? Where we would go out at the end of the tour and we would jump in the water. So it was kind of cool to see that these guys are doing it, but I had kept, pushing it down the weekends after weekend, maybe next time. One of my mentors hits me up and he's like, Winsome, he said, hey, I got some things as we're talking about neuromuscular connection, as we're talking about neurogenesis, as we're talking about all of the other items about empowering your mind and helping your mind reach the different capacities than you've probably had before. And he said, one of the things that's really cool, I promise, for your whole body is doing the ice or cold hot therapy. Ice therapy, plunging in the ice or the really cold water like you see athletes do after sports and things of that nature. And I was like, wait, what? I've heard this before. And so as he's telling me this, I'm picturing, hey, my buddies are doing this throughout the week, almost every week. Sergeant O, shout out to Sergeant Ostrike or Ostrich, however you want to say it. Logan, my teammate, is the one who puts this all together. So here we go. I'm on my way to the U.S. last week to, take care of some family business. And I'm like, okay, coming back, Logan, I'm with you. I'm in the water. You got me. I'm hearing all these positive things about it. I was sold on it. I'm going to try it. I'm going to give it a chance. So if you're watching, you'll see that this is me and the guys that we're jumping into. If you can see, this is going to be, of course, played on social media. But this is me and the guys doing the ice tub today, the polar plunge here on the Kadena Air Base. It was a cool experience. The first time I only gave it like 15, 20 seconds. And then the second time I came in, I gave it about 40 seconds. I was trying, I'm going to build up my physical capacity to do this more often. So that's a promise I made to myself and to my teammates that invited me, is that I would be out there and doing this more often throughout the week and just maybe once on the weekends. But I thought it was really cool to actually go and experience that with them. And shout out to my mentor who, really pushed this for me to give it a try. Because, I like trying new things, but some things, if they're not for me, I won't really attempt it. But this was something like, okay, I can understand how this will benefit me mentally and physically. Let me give it a try. We get out after 40 seconds. He asked me, you got the tinglies? And I was like, what's the tinglies? And then my body started doing it. You feel this tingling sensation in all the areas that you were submerged in this water. And it was the coolest feeling, but also you feel refreshed. You feel re-energized. It's like a boost. It's like a shotgun into the day. So shout out again to Logan, to O, my brother. Thank you for the invite, for having me and Derek out today. Hopefully one of these days we get everybody out there from the group and try it out. What's been going on here in Okinawa? Okinawa has been, of course, the sun is starting to come back. We're starting to get beautiful weather again. Past couple of weeks have been kind of rainy weather, really chilly in the morning. This week, and I'm going to tell you how I know that the weather is changing here in Okinawa. How I know the weather is changing is when I start seeing the bugs and the insects again, right? That's how I know the sun is coming back. So my teammates know once you start seeing the flying bugs and then you start seeing the bugs outside on cars, that's when you know, okay, here it is. The season is changing. It's time for a change of scenery, right? So I went from wearing sweaters last week to I can wear short sleeves again this week, or thinner long sleeves, whatever. I love the change of scenery here. I love the change of the weather changes here, because with it, you're always reminded about how beautiful Okinawa is. The change of weather reminds you of how gorgeous these greens are. When I'm looking outside the window right now, some of the trees, some of the bushes, when we flip videos, you'll see it. But the green here is unlike anywhere I've ever seen in my life. And then the ocean, of course, matches. The blue is so surreal when you're looking at it from either your apartment or you're coming up close to it, right? It's really just an amazing experience to have. So I say all that to say the weather is changing here in Okinawa here on this Saturday. Today, I'm actually finally celebrating. I am finally celebrating my 46th birthday, right? That's going to be today. I'm going to go out when I leave here, and I celebrate this community. So I chose to do something special in this community today. So when I leave here, I'm going to stay at Hotel Nico Avila in Yomitan, which is, of course, my favorite area to go kayaking because they have the teams that come and bring the kayak out there for you. You get out there, you go too far, somebody's watching. Again, I want to know that somebody has my back if I'm going out there kayaking by myself. My team was joking, right? So I have a team of jokesters, and we keep each other energized throughout the week. But my team was teasing that, hey, man, you saw that video about the guy on the kayak, and the whale comes and just swallows him and spits him back out, right? And I'm like, hey, get out of my head. You know I have thalassophobia. You know my biggest fear is what's in that water that I can't see. The most beautiful thing about this water is that the Okinawa Ocean is clear, right? The water is so, when you're out there, you can see beneath your kayak. In some cases, that might not be a good thing, right? Depending on where you're kayaking at. But in this case, it's beautiful, it's clear. You see the coral, you see the water, you see the separation of the earth down there. It's just the fish, right? It's just a beautiful and relaxing scenery. And that's what I'm going to do today, experience. That's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to go out. I'm going to jump on the kayak right next to Hotel Nico Avila. I'm going to take my kayak out for a little while. I invited our teammate, Belen, to see if she gets up. Belen's got a bunch of work stuff going on, but I told her, I said, hey, teammate, co-facilitator, co-host, where you at? I'm going to the resort today. You know, if you want to come out, just in case I do get swallowed by a whale. But at least you can come out and enjoy the sun, this beautiful weather that we have today. And the change is just coming in beautifully. Tomorrow, I'm going to get up, do some errands, and I'm going to head back out to Iijima. Again, 46th birthday celebration for the weekend. I'm going to probably climb up the lighthouse today, do my steps, get my steps in, just to go to the top and look at the different views from standing around it. And you know how much I love that, man. I would rather be nowhere else than right here, taking all of this in right now on my 46th birthday. I had a blessed opportunity to spend the actual date in the U.S. with my family. Got to see the fam, and nothing more special than seeing them light up when I show up. And it was an amazing opportunity to do a quick break from Japan to the U.S. and to spend time with family. It's more important to me than anything else, is to make sure that the people that I say I love, that I show them that I love them. And I'll say that again in case you didn't catch it. It's very important to me, who I am as a person, that the people that I tell I love them, that I'm showing them I love them as well. And the promise I made, if you guys aren't familiar with my family, is I know you can't be here. So I will make every effort to be there once a quarter, if possible, and more than once a quarter, if reasonable. My oldest, my 18-year-old son, graduates Air Force basic military training in about a month. I'm so excited. As I wrap up my military Air Force career, he's coming in his military Air Force career. And I'll tell you, I didn't tell him to. I had no play in this. I let him, this is his life. I don't want him to do a rinse and repeat of my life. I want him to be his own person. And so I didn't tell him, join the Air Force, son, aim high. No, he's seen me. He's watched me. He's experienced what I vicariously my life as a service member. And he chose this what he wanted to do. I didn't tell him about his job. He picked a job I wouldn't have picked, but he picked it for himself. So I'm really proud to celebrate that with him in a few weeks. I'll be going back to the U.S., celebrate graduation, and get to see my baby boy, my firstborn, celebrate walking across, graduating, wearing his blues, looking sharp. That is something for me I'm really excited about. So there's a lot going on in the world. I'll tell you this. I have nothing but great things to celebrate. I have a wonderful team. We've been doing amazing stuff. I think we taught a class of 19 this week for one of our foundational courses. So we only had 19 students. Again, a lot of people have less, but we had 19 this week going through our course. So we're charging forward. We got next week another class, full week of class going on. So these weekends are very important to me and my team to really decompress, breathe, get some breathing going, relax, reset, get our mind focused on what's coming up, and then jump into it, right? And these next 2 days, today down at Hotel Nico Avila, and then tomorrow probably Iajima, if I get my mind wrapped around, get everything done the way I planned it in my mind. It's going to be a really cool weekend for me to experience some of my favorite places here in Okinawa without traveling to Korea or Hokkaido or Sapporo or Kyoto. I'm staying here, right, and enjoying my 46th birthday. Every year I try to do a little video, something cool. I think this one's going to be one of those years that I kind of just reflect on the past 45 and how far I've come and things that I've overcome to be here. I'm very grateful for the people in my life who've played a role in that, from my mentors to my family members who have supported me, loved me, regardless of if I was stubborn at times, but just to make sure that they always showed me love as well. The consistent people in my life, thank you. I'm one of those people, if you guys don't know me, I'm not good with consistently inconsistent people. I need consistent people in my life, people I know I can count on. If I turn and I need them, I know they're going to be there. Not that I'm questioning, should I even call this person if I'm going through something? Should I even reach out to this person? Those people I don't need, and I don't keep them close. I keep the consistent people close to me and around me because those people matter to me and because I know I can count on them just like they know they can count on me. And I need that love to be reciprocated with the folks who I keep close, right? Hey, this is a two-way street. It's not me giving and giving and giving. It's a give and take. It's a win-win in these relationships. We love on each other, not just me loving you and growing you. No, it's a feedback loop going on. So I say all that to say this. Thank you for those people in my life who have been consistent. Thank you for those people in my life that I know any time of day or night, I can pick up the phone, even from Japan with the time zone changes, and say, I need you, and you're there. I'm grateful for the people who I can pick up and just say, hey, I just need you to listen, and they'll listen. And the fact that I can brag on that to our classes and say, I found those people in my life that I can do that with, I challenge you to do the same. And I urge you to do the same. Find those people in your life that you know, no matter where you are, no matter what time it is, if you picked up the phone and they seen your name, they're going to click it up, answer, and be there for you. And you also have to, in turn, be that person for others. No matter what time it is, no matter what you got going on, if you can break, you break. If you tell someone you love them, show them. So thank you for the consistent people in my life. Secondly, thank you for all the companies that I've been supporting. All the love, not just on Facebook, but on LinkedIn, the love and the advice, the people who reach out, the folks who have asked for me to come teach later this year or throughout the remainder of this year. I'm so excited to see you. So excited to spend time with your teams. I can't wait to bring the lessons that we've taught or developed over the last couple of months. It's been some new stuff. I'm really excited about the new stuff. But to be able to share what we've developed over the past couple of months is very exciting for me. I can't wait to bring those two back to my families and friends in the U.S. who every year we do this a rinse and repeat of certain seminars, right? Meaning, let's start over. Let's do something different. What didn't we do last year that we can add this year? Well, how can we make it more special? How can we make it more impactful? And to be a part of that, to see this, I'm really excited to be a part of these environments, these groups, these sessions that are coming up. And, of course, travel. Yeah, I got to get my sleep together one day, but, hey, I'd rather be nowhere else than developing somebody, each one, teach one, being in front of people and making sure that those lessons leave them better than we found them means the world to me. So 78.6 FM, Positive Vibes of Winsome. Today we're just catching up. I was gone to the U.S. last week, and this week I'm just playing some catch up. I might talk about some work-life harmony in a few minutes, but right now we're just catching up with you because I'm glad and grateful for you listening this morning. See you when we come right back. 78.6 FM, Positive Vibes of Winsome. We're back. And today we're talking about work-life harmony. And so I mentioned this because I saw someone else, I think it was LinkedIn, mention it. But they were talking about the business aspect of it and being a business person, a business individual, focusing on income and return, and then integrating family or relationships or things that matter to you outside of business. And I know that's the space for it, right? I'm not a business entrepreneur guidance giver, if you will. I don't go out and try to be a entrepreneur coach. That's not my role. As a life coach, as a resilience coach, as a growth mindset coach, as somebody who's trying to help people be better than they were yesterday, I focus in on how to make sure that people are paying attention. And let's start there, that we're paying attention to those things that we say matter to us. And that can be family, that can be mission, that can be goals, that can be whatever is important to you in your life, that you're paying attention to those things and you're feeding the right amount of energy, the right amount of time, the right amount of love to these things that you say are important to you. Now, one of the conversations I remember having a few months back, and I want to just send a quick shout out to all of my friends that just made E8 Senior Master Sergeant, because some of you and I have had conversations over the past couple of months or maybe years about work-life harmony. One of you that made this recent rank, you actually teach the class work-life harmony. And as you teach each class, you're also teaching yourself. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things, because you're truly able to connect with the audience as you're changing and implementing things in your own life, right? People kind of expect some facilitators to be experts up there, but you're very humble about it. Hey, I'm learning as we go, right? The things that I'm teaching you, I'm actually putting into practice. You know, I'm trial and error. I'm a work in progress. So for those people who just made rank in the United States Air Force, this new rank that just dropped, this E8 Senior Master Sergeant, congratulations to you, because I know you've had to figure out some of the lessons the hard way. And that is not always easy. And I'm going to tell you some of the ways that you can definitely focus on work-life balance. And I'm going to break down some of the things that you can do in your life and some of the things to focus in on when you're trying to do this. One of the first things is being self-aware. And I think a lot of people, when they hear the word self-awareness, that's a whole different lesson in itself. But being self-aware means understanding who you are in all aspects of your life, not just how you see yourself, how other people see you, getting and taking in feedback so that you can understand the true you, the true essence of you, what you bring to the fight every single day, no matter what you do, no matter where you are, no matter what you're responsible for. Who are you? And I love how people introduce themselves, right? So I don't like when people go and they try to size other people up by their occupation. If you haven't noticed, in 2025, it's really easy to be dismissive about some people's occupations, positions, and jobs. Who are they as a person, right? 2025, ask the question, who is this individual? Who are they? Stop focusing so much on occupations. Pay attention to who this person is. People do the same thing for education. They dismiss others because they don't have higher levels of education, so they don't think their information is as valid as the person who has a higher level of education. No, what about the experience and the heart behind this person? What about the things that this person has survived and can probably help you and prevent you from going through the same circumstances and ease your traffic or your travels? I'm just going back, because you can be book smart without being life smart. Same way they say you can have a high level of IQ and a low level of emotional intelligence, EQ. So I say all this to say, being understanding of who you are and the roles that you play, being aware of all of them and their importance of not just to you, but to others. So let's talk about being self-aware. Being self-aware to know that, hey, I am a leader, a father, a brother, a cousin, a mentor, a teacher, I can go on and list off all the responsibilities in my life that I have. But how do I prioritize the ones that are the most important to me? And then the ones that are most important to the world. Some of the things that the very first thing I tell, and if you don't know I tell my family, I am not 100% if you are not 100%. So that tells me in my mind and heart that my family is first. Family is first. I'm not good unless y'all are good. So when we talk about what you value and the things that are important to you, and you really pull the layers back on it, and you realize that, hey, I know that I'm not 100% of myself if my family's not good. You know what else takes me out? I also know that I'm not 100% of myself if my peace is disturbed. Meaning that if I'm uncomfortable in my spirit, in my soul, in my mind, and I'm not at peace with situations or directions or what's being decided or what's happening, if I'm not at peace with it, then I'm in turmoil, inner, and sometimes it may show itself external turmoil. And with that being said, knowing that if I'm not at peace with what's happening, then I need to value peace. Come on, man. Another thing that I noticed too, and pay attention to this, I get really frustrated when somebody else is playing with my time. Meaning, when somebody else is telling me that I got to spend time and energy somewhere where I know it doesn't make sense, time and energy somewhere that doesn't align with my values, and time and energy somewhere that actually is just a waste of time and energy. So what does that tell you if you go back through all three that I just mentioned? That's telling you that I value family, I value peace, and I value time. Those are the first three things I mentioned. That tells you those are the most important things to me. Those are the things that I value. So if you're being self-aware, that means you've peeled the onion back and you understand the things that you value most in your life. Now, I teach this. We talk about this, right? We talk about people who say they value something, but nothing in their life reflects that. So let's go back to that. I value family. I had a room full of people. I won't say what group this was, but I said, cool. I went around the room, and I'm going to tell you how it started. I started at the left, and I was like, okay, cool. What do you value? What do you value? What's your top three values in your life? I promise, after the first person said their number one priority was family, I started asking, okay, cool. What's yours? Family, 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 family. That was what was being said all around the room was family, family, family. Male, female, younger, older, they all said the same thing. And so I said, cool. Who keeps a paper calendar? You know, everyone brings the little notebooks and calendars and schedules with them, right? Who has them in their phone? You know, people have the schedules, calendars in their phones as well, digital and on paper. We had a mixed group. So I said, cool. I want you guys to open those for me real quick. Let's take a couple of minutes, open them, go to them, and go to this month or this week. You pick. Actually, go to this month. So everybody goes to their calendars. Some people had the little where they open up the little portfolio and it's showing, let's just say January. And I said, okay, cool. Point to somewhere where you're showing on your calendar, built into your week, day, month, life, that you're taking care of family first. How many people do you think can show me that? How many people could immediately point to, we did have a couple of parents that were like soccer practice, right? Built in because they got to take the kids to practice. But what about the ones that said, spend lunch with son, take wife to beach, take kids here, spend time with the family? Ask me how many times that was built in, because let me tell you something. If you're building in important meetings, you're building in important appointments, why aren't those just as important to build into your week, day, monthly planner? And people say, oh, I don't need to have it on paper. It's natural. No, show it. When you say you care, show it. Write it down, because when you see it, it's visible. It's in front of you. You're reminding yourself and you're reinforcing how important it is to be there for your family. If you say that's the most important thing, the thing you value the most. And we had people of different ages, different spectrums, different career fields. It was a thing. I caught a lot of people with the aha moment. Oh, it's not built in. So you just kind of take it for granted. It's going to happen. Build it in. You should be building in all the things that you say matter to you in your life. Number two, for me, that's family. Let's talk about the next piece. Let's go over peace. I value peace more than anything else. If you guys have been following my radio show, you know that the first thing I do on the weekend when I leave here is go to somewhere that's going to allow me to get away from the rest, block out the noise, breathe, and reset. That's how much I value my peace. I build it in. You guys can see it. Anywhere I got my weekday months built, it's built in. Go to Lighthouse. Go kayaking. Go to Iijima. Go climb Mount Gasuku. What is it? Gasuku? Mount Gasuku. Whatever it is. Build it in. What you'll start realizing is when you start building in these things, you start truly valuing them differently. If you say these things are important to you, if you say these are your key and most important things that you value, right? As you're being self-aware, you're starting to pull back the onion and be like, maybe I was saying something that's more value than it actually is to me in my life. Maybe I got to make some changes. Maybe I should approach this differently. Time. Oh my goodness. I say no more often than I say yes. And it's built in. It's called boundaries. I say no more often than I say yes. Because I always think, how is this going to affect my family, my peace, or my time? Boundaries. So I set boundaries that actually reinforce the things that are important to me. Because if you say yes to everything, if you're that yes man, you're a people pleaser, then you're constantly overstepping your own personal boundaries. And we're still talking about being self-aware, people. We haven't even gotten to the good stuff yet. That's just when you're talking about being self-aware. And then after self-awareness is building boundaries to back your self-awareness. Listen to me when I say that. So you've identified all the things that are important to you in your life. These are the things that matter to me the most. My family, my time, and my peace. Cool. So now, as I create my day, my week, my life, I am going to make sure that I reinforce the boundaries in my life that allow me to keep these three in perspective, that allow me to keep these things in front of me, that allow me to make sure I'm focusing my energy on my family, my peace, and my time. It's called setting boundaries to reinforce your values, what you value most. Are you self-aware? And if you're not sure if you're doing these things, seek feedback from those people that you have in your life that you trust, and that'll give you the truth, tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. We'll be right back after this break. .6 FM, Positive Vibes with Winsome. Right now we're talking about work-life harmony. We got to do the job. We got to do whatever we're tasked to do. We have to do whatever our responsibility is to make sure that we're able to support, finance, and do the things that we want to be able to do. What did Oprah say? I believe Oprah said, you have to do what you need to do before you can do what you want to do. So I never really focused too hard on work. Work's going to bring its own natural responsibilities, requirements, time, and things that are built into the responsibilities that you signed up for work. Whatever your job is, if you chose to go into medicine, Your hours, your responsibilities will be dictated by your role. You chose to go into legal, your hours and responsibilities will be dictated by your role. If you're military, your hours, responsibility will be dictated by the position that you were selected for and you signed up and raised your right hand for. All of these things come with their own responsibilities. If you're working fast food, the hours will be dictated by whatever job you're doing, the management, however employees you have, and the schedules. If you're working at the gym, the same thing. So you cannot always control what the business side of it does. Because with each one of these businesses, roles, careers, responsibilities, comes its own set of rules that are already outlined for whatever needs to be accomplished. But what you can do, what you should be doing, is focusing on the controllables. I told a friend a few weeks ago, your focus is not on controlling the controllables. Your focus is on all of these things that you have absolutely no control over. So what happens is when you're focused all over the place on things that are out of your control, you're actually controlling nothing. And your focus is all over. So in order to recenter, take a step back and control the controllables. The items that are within your control, that are within your immediate change. Because when you do that, then you can start looking at things that maybe you weren't connecting the dots on before. There's a lot. I tell you, every day I wake up, I turn on the news, and there's a whole lot going on in the world right now. Whole lot of new conversations, decisions being made. I've already done, what can I do about a lot of these things? Control what's within my control. Check on the welfare and the well-being of my people that work for me. Check on my family and friends and see if anybody's impacted by some of these changes and be there for them how and whenever I can. Controlling the controllables. You always think about how does the things going on around you affect those things that you value if you didn't connect the dots from what I was teaching a few minutes ago. Let's think about this. I gave you mine. Time, family, peace. Family, peace, time. Whatever order, I'm always going to tell you the same things because these are the things that I value. People used to trip out because I'm like, hey, we don't need to be at the office any later than we need to. Once we get our mission done, we need to look at what time we can get out of here together because I value my time and I value my team's time. And I need you to be the best version of you tomorrow. So what time can we get out of here that's reasonable and we're still accomplishing the mission? Right? And think about that. Family, every morning. And you can ask, hit them up every morning when I wake up. Morning check-in. How y'all doing? First call I make. Right? Time. Peace. At what point in the day am I going to take a few minutes for myself? We talked about boundaries before the break. After you know what you value, you have to build boundaries in your life to make sure you're protecting those things. And if you're not doing that, if you haven't created boundaries and if you're not firm on your boundaries, if you haven't learned how to say no, if you haven't learned how to turn course when it doesn't align with you, then you're going to constantly be caught up in that negativity loop because you're not protecting your peace. And there could be things that you guys value that I'm not mentioning this morning. I get you. Some people value some things that are completely opposite of what I value. That's for them. Especially when you're younger, you value things that no longer or later on might not be important to you. Or you might value things younger that at your later ages, you're like, wow, I value that? Because the grind in life is different for everybody. But the key is whatever you're valuing, you have to build those boundaries in order to protect those things that you say you value. Another thing is prioritization. Prioritization. How do you prioritize things in your life? What are your priorities and how do you manage day-to-day priorities? One of my favorite things to do is wake up and write down the things that I need to do in the morning or throughout the day. I don't know if you guys have one of those books. I have one. I don't bring it in here, of course, but I go in and I write down everything I need to do for me. Even if I already have a calendar that has what I'm responsible for in that day, I write down the things that I need to do. And I prioritize. Sometimes I catch myself doing it like a little kid. I put number 1, number 2, number 3. These are the things in order of prioritization that I need to get done. Now, of course, I check it against my weekly calendar, my daily calendar to make sure I'm not missing anything. But overnight, you think about stuff. Oh, I need to email this person. I need to tell this person thank you. I need to reach out to this person. Oh, I need to prepare slides for this. Just little things. I need to make sure I call and tell this person I love them. I need to make sure that I spend time on myself today. Give myself 15 minutes just to breathe. Even if it's sitting in the car for a few more minutes or getting off work and going to a certain spot around here and just not doing anything, just being one with nature, just giving myself some time back. Those things are what you can build in when you're prioritizing your day. But a lot of people don't have any kind of structure of their day. They just go aimlessly into the day. So I'm trying to tell you today that there are ways that you can actually, after you set these boundaries, start prioritizing the things that are important to you that you want to get done throughout the day. You already have the things you have to do, but there's also things you need to do for yourself. And when you get past the have tos, the need tos, what are things you want to do? So I'll tell you, perfect example. Before I was out to be able to go stay at the resort today, I needed to wash clothes yesterday. Why? So when I come home from Hotel Nico Avila, I don't have a pile of clothes waiting on me. I don't have a house that I need to clean up because I don't want to go from a peaceful environment to a cluttered environment. So I want to straighten out and make a space for myself to come home to. It's responsibilities. And I told you guys about this a minute ago. You got to do what you need to do before you do what you want to do. Managing stress is another one. And I will say this to you. I have, as I mentioned a little bit ago, there's a lot going on in the world. And there's a lot of people that have chosen to take on some of these things, the world's problems, in their minds as if it immediately affects them. And sometimes it doesn't. But because they are overthinkers or because I tell some of my friends, you have superhero complex, right? They got to want to find a way to fix things that at their level, or sometimes it's not you who needs to fix it. You can pass that information off to the person who has the ability or the power to change things. And sometimes it's not you that is. But some of these people, they carry these stresses with them. They carry the world's problems with them, the weight of the world on their shoulders, if you will. And then when something else happens that might be very light, it's magnified because they're carrying the weight of the world already on their shoulders. And you add something else. You can add a feather to that person, and it's so heavy. The key is, how are you dealing with your stress? Now, in my day job, there's so many different places that individuals can go. We have mental health, the chaplain, the True North program, which is counselors. There's coaches that they can sign up for free to get coaching sessions. There are so many different ways that you can sit down with someone and actually sort through your thoughts. And there's ways online now. I was looking at, I think the program is called BetterHelp. You can go online and get counseling and help, and somebody will listen to you if you want to pay for that. There's so many different ways to escape your own thoughts these days if it's causing you stress, or to get out of a place that's dark if you're in one. And sometimes you have to believe and trust that tomorrow is going to be better than today. Sometimes you have to believe and trust that where you are right now is not where you have to stay. Sometimes you have to believe and trust and fight for that reality that you want for tomorrow. But a lot of people, they get settled and stuck in where they are, and they can't get past it. They can't see past it, and it's called hopelessness. And that's where we lose a lot of people, and that's why it's so important that when you're dealing with, we're talking about work-life harmony. We're talking about dealing with boundaries, making sure you know what your goals are. And now we're talking about, how do you deal with stress? Sitting down with someone that you trust, if it's a mentor, if you've got a coach that can coach you through, help you navigate, if you have a mental health counselor that can actually talk to you through some of these things, help you with new tools to strengthen you. So when life punches you and knocks you down, you're looking up because you know you can get up. You see, that's a lot of people don't realize that once you get knocked down doesn't mean you have to stay down. Life is going to punch you in your chest. Life is going to knock you down. But how hard are you fighting back? How hard do you want to live? How hard do you want what is owed to you, deserved to you in this thing called life? Your presence, your life, your world, your reality is a blessing. You are a miracle. You are one of one. There is no one like you. And knowing that, believing that, trusting that, you are a miracle to this world. That you, every breath you take, and this is me. I wake up every morning. Thank you for a new day. Thankful. I got a new day. Let's go. Today I can go in, I can save a life, change a life, be impactful to someone, care for someone, leave someone better than I found them. I can do things, see things, and change things that I've never had hands on before or never dealt with before. What is in front of me today? Believe in that. And I'm going to tell you, even the most positive person has bad days, experiences negative things, experiences negative people. Because there's a lot of people that don't want things for the same reason as you or don't want the same as you. And so their approach is going to counter yours. But how do you deal with them? How do you handle stress? How do you handle being let down? How do you handle being told no? How do you handle it? And when you focus on these and when you take some of the tips I'm giving you to sit down, find you a coach, find you a counselor, find you, if you're military, a chaplain or a religious affairs person, meaning if you're here in the civilian life, like a lot of you listening, what do you pull your strength from spiritually, right? Who do you sit down with for spiritual counseling? What do you believe in? Who do you believe in? Where do you pull your strength? Where do you get strength? Who's the person you go to when you're dealing with stresses that'll listen to you, that'll tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear? Some people need coaches. Some people need counselors. Some people just need a mentor to help them get through life and day to day. I challenge you to find any of those things that'll help you manage stress, to help you be more mindful. And we're going to talk about mindfulness next week, not this week, to help you be more mindful in the way you approach life, right? Relationships. Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar, he breaks down the SPIRE model. And if you guys aren't familiar, Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar wrote the book Happier, and then he wrote the book Happier No Matter What. We're teaching that next week. Thank you, sir, for trusting me with your concepts, with your book, to be able to share its life with others and to bring life to others. But one of the things he talks about in there is, of course, the SPIRE model for anti-fragility, which is spiritual, physical, intellectual, relational, and emotional well-being. And as we're talking about well-being, he says the most important out of all of it is relational. Think about this for a minute. We're talking about spiritual, physical, intellectual, and emotional, but because we're human, relationships matter. Connectedness matters. Who we build these bonds with over time, who we spend our time with matters. Having those relationships, seeking those relationships, not for a win-lose scenario when you argue with somebody, but for a win-win scenario for those people that you really love and that you cherish and you appreciate. And if you're approaching relationships with curiosity, openness, and lovingness, then those relationships will pay you back threefold with the same. Those other people on the other side of that. And I encourage you, if you haven't already done so, find your tribe. I tell this to the young folks all the time. Sometimes the group that you feel inconsistent or uncomfortable around, maybe that's not your group. What do you love to do, and where are those people at that are doing the things that you love to do? Connect with them. Reach out to them. And even as adults, we have to do the same thing. The older we get, our tribes may change. We got to find the people who are doing the things that we love to do, connect with them, and be a part of those things that we're getting and being fed what we need in our social relationships. Not just boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, but overall. We'll be right back to talk more about this after this break. So last couple of minutes together. So I kind of want to wrap it up and bring it all together. A lot of people, when they think about work-life harmony, they're not discussing work-life integration. One of the things that I learned, one of the most important relationships to me, and even though she and I are not in a relationship now, we are very good friends, probably the best of friends, talk every morning, every day. And one of the things we talked about was I never really integrated her with my life when it came to work. It was like I had to split, a divide. Work is work business, and I'm gonna come home and home business. It's never integration. The things that were important to me, let me explain and let me have you be a part of this. These promotion ceremonies invite you, be a part of that. These benefits that you get as a spouse or as my family member. I never introduced those things because I kept my world separate. But then I started seeing these couples, families who they do things as a real team where their family is integrated into their work. So they feel a part of it, connected. And so they support differently. They feel differently. They see it differently because you're sharing a vision, you're sharing lockstep, and you're sharing goals. Anything that goes against the family values are discussed because your communication is different. Babe, honey, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, this is what I'm trying to achieve. Best friend, I need you to be a part of this. This is where I need help at. But I don't want to lose track of you or lose sight of you. Make sure you tell me if I'm missing the mark because I need to find time to make sure I'm there for you because you matter to me. Having those conversations, having that real open dialogue, and you learn a lot about people. And a lot of times you might realize you're in a wrong relationship if the relationship is not supportive, is not a win-win scenario. And you start seeing sometimes there are selfish individuals involved in your path, your journey, that you're like, I don't need that person in my life. They want me to bypass everything that's important to my values, to my mental, for them. And if someone is asking you to dismiss those things to where you're losing sight of what you value, then they may not need to be the person you're with. Now, I'm not talking about marriages. That's a whole different. I'm talking about people that you invite and allow to be in your space as you're moving forward and you're trying to balance out your work life and harmonize and integrate those things. For me, like this morning, I mentioned that we did the ice tub. Those are people who I value at work and I enjoy spending time with when I'm not at work. You don't spend the time all the time, but when opportunities present themselves like this morning, I make it happen because I truly feel that we feed into each other mentally, physically, socially, spiritually, and emotionally when the times happen. And today was one of those physical where we can get in the tub, clap it up, high five. They freeze me for 2 minutes or 30 minutes, whatever it is, 30 seconds. Point is, who do you have in your life and how are you integrating them into what your goals, visions for yourself are? And same goes for them. How are you being supportive? That was one of the things I used to really fail at. I was not good at that for a long time. I loved when people would help me go forward, but I never looked back to figure out how I can help them move forward too. I'm moving. So now I have an opportunity or the know with all the self-awareness, right? To know that, yes, I'm moving forward, but I'm not moving forward without you. Let's go. I'm moving forward, but let me show you how I can be a part of this so you're winning too. Let's go. Those are the things that sometimes we lose sight on because as a human being, your movie is the one that you're watching every single day. Every once in a while, you got to change the channel. You're going to focus on your movie. You're going to focus on making sure that your ending is the way you want it to be. And I encourage that. I do tell everybody, hey, you only get one life. You only get one story. You only get one chance at this thing called life. And it's your story. You write the book. Make it a good one. However, as you're going through this adventure, this journey, whatever kind of book you got right now, drama, comedy, horror story, rom-com, action, whatever it is you're dealing with, make sure you're paying attention to your co-stars. Because the co-stars, if you ever watched the movie, if you ever sat back and watched the film, you can have someone giving the most powerful scenes of their life on this movie that you're watching. They become the character. And then you see these other folks come in and they're not taking it as serious. And it brings the quality of the movie down that you're watching or the show. People think about that. The acting wasn't that great. Well, think about the people in your life and think about you. You can be giving it everything you have. You have to understand who your co-stars are and make sure that you're contributing to them so that they are able to give this one thing, this game called life, the best that they can too. Because when you guys are all shooting for the same finish line together, you can applaud each other on the way. You only get one. Everybody around you deserves the same energy. They deserve to win too. They deserve to see their finish line and be able to put everything, their best foot forward with the same level of support they give you. And that's the problem. When we're focused on our movie, we forget that because you're focused on me. Me, I. But when we change it to we, us, that's true work-life integration, work-life harmony. You're doing what you got to do, but but you haven't lost focus on the things that you want to do, the people that matter to you, those things in your life that you want to be a part of your DNA. And I always tell folks when we're teaching, you want to get to the end of that finish line and you want to cross it with more than you had when you started, not with less. So what are the things that you can do to get there and to make sure people know that you're fighting not just for yourself, but for them too? Everything I do and everything I am since I started this journey with being an encourager, it's been about others. How do I build them up? How do I make people better than we found them? How do I give folks tools that they may not have had before? Like right now, we're talking about how to make this work-life harmony happen. And the first thing is we talk about being self-aware. Then we talk about setting boundaries. Then we talk about managing your stress. We didn't talk about finances. I ain't talking about how to make sure those things that are the top 3 or 4 stressors in people's lives, how to manage those effectively so that you can focus on the things that you care about. If you're not managing these things, they start interrupting the whole flow of your life. Did you think about that? The jobs that are the most stressful jobs in the world, and how to manage relationships and separate your body-mind connection when you get home and you got to love on people, but you're just exhausted. How to go home and give people everything you have left before you hit that pillow and not just fumes. Right? That's when people start feeling neglected because you're only giving them 10%, but you gave your job or these folks over here 90%. That's where a lot of people run into problems, not just in marriages, but in relationships and friendships. Man, I don't see that person. I only get fumes. How do you manage that? How do you make sure that's not you and that's not what you're doing? I ask these questions and I challenge you. This is all part of it. And this is a snippet of the course that we call Work-Life Harmony. It's just a little piece. If you ever want me to come and give you the full-fledged version that breaks down a lot of these tricks of the trade, let me know. You guys know how to reach me. Hey, I'm excited to be here. I can't wait to see what today holds. It's going to be a beautiful day. I'm looking at the sun breaking through the clouds right now. I'm excited to go down to this Hotel Nico Avila and go kayaking today to connect with the water. I haven't done that in a while. I'm really excited about that. I'm excited about going up to the lighthouse and then ending my day at the cafe, Banta Cafe here in Yomatan. I'm really, for my 46th birthday, going to love on my favorite community, which is Yomatan. And I'm really excited to go out there and do it. And I encourage you, whatever brings joy to you, whatever brings you peace, whatever you value, protect those things. Build your life up to where you are keeping those things at the forefront of your world. And I gave you mine and I give them to you again. Family, time, and peace. Everything I do in my life, everything I have built, everything I wake up to is built to protect those 3 things. What do you value and how are you protecting them? My name is Winsome and you are loved and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. I'll see you next week. Take care.